All right, everyone, especially the people that had a chance to watch the summit from earlier today. I appreciate you guys, and anyone who last name began with the alphabets V through Z. It is really, really important that we have a conversation, that we're able to talk to you because of the national urban security threat that we are under every second. So this month, and not again into June. So if we don't talk to you in the next 5 days, it wouldn't be to June that we will be engaged in last names V through Z. And so it's important, very important, that we talk to you, that we get you to see what we're working on. We are about 157 days away from the most dangerous, deadliest holiday of the beginning of summer, which is Memorial Day. And so it's very, very important that we get this system working, because you're not going to make it safer without using a system to go against a system. Systems need to combat systems. This video here, I got three things I want to emphasize. I want to emphasize why the once a month duty day matters. So I'm going to show you what that means in our zip codes. I want to talk about the spindle. I want to introduce the spindle to you. Then I want to go over the Gary, Indiana conventions and why those matter to this new direction for Black life. Like, it's getting ready to go down a new way of life for the Black community and subsequently humanity as a whole. But we're going to start with us. So I'm gonna share some screens with you because I want to make sure that I drive this point home. And we're going to start this thing off with the Chicago zip codes. So let me find that slide, and then I'm gonna bring you guys in once I find that slide. Okay, here it is right here. So let's double click that. Nope, I don't want to show it that way. So let's go back. That's not the format that I want to show you guys this. It's not the format. Here we go. Let's get a new share. Let's stop that share. I want to go here. There we go. There we go. This looks better. I am recording, so this will be posted on YouTube later. But just for now, this is what I wanted to share with you guys here. It's called zip code. Let me shrink the screen so you guys can really see this. It's called zip code workload. Once I get this queued up, I'm gonna come out of this because I want to zoom in and make it where you guys really can see this. Okay. Okay, right here. All right, I'm gonna leave it right there. That's enough for you guys to be able to see it. Now let's talk through this. All right, because I want to tell you why this matters first. When you've been doing something as long as we've been doing the same thing at that, people get bored and they walk away because most of our people are used to tradition. And so when you're doing something outside of tradition, and it don't be it's not exciting, then they tend to move on. So we've had leaders who question our effectiveness with the once a month phone calls or the once a month checking in. And the question is, what good is it doing, Si? What good is it that we call people once a month? What good is it? So much stuff happens in between that once a month. What, are we really just wasting our time? What you're about to look at, I want you to walk away knowing why you're not wasting your time. So there's 20 zip codes in Black Chicago, 20 zip codes. All right. Each zip code has one day unique to them. So that means it takes 20 days to go through our whole cycle of zip codes. 20 days. It's only 31 days in a long month, 28 days in a short month. And so it takes 90, 80% to go through all of our zip codes. So I'm gonna go to the annotation here so I can walk through this, because again, you guys will be able to look at this on YouTube later. So I'm gonna go here and I'm going to draw, and I'm gonna do it in red ink. So first, what you're looking at is right here. That's the zip code. So that tells you where um, anything we write in the box falls in line. This is the New City neighborhood inside of Chicago. Okay. If you look down here, this tells you what US city I linked to this zip code. Detroit, Michigan is linked to this zip code, and Ethiopia in Africa is linked to this zip code. People say, well, why is it linked? Because all over Black America, Black communities have been isolated. It is one of the key things hurting us is the isolation. And so when you isolate, you're easy to starve out and to exploit because it's no collateral damage. You're by yourself. So it's one of the first things the military do to our enemy is we isolate them. And there's many ways to isolate a person. You can isolate them economically, physically, you can isolate them psychologically. But the bottom line is by linking this zip code to this city, to this country in Africa, we're structurally, which is the configuration. Structure is the makeup of something. We're making up something new. We're building new alliances. We're building new relationships that fights isolation. All right. So you see that. The next thing I want to turn your attention to is right here. It's called the last name solution. And this here tells you on any given time, if it's February, you can look and see what last name people should be working with me. If it's February, it should be F through K last name people. So that's the way this is structured. Now, let me answer why that matters. When you're dealing with hurt, abused, and bitter people, that's not all of us, but a lot of us have that hurt, abuse, and bitterness in us to the point where we love our abusers. We love the people who last names we still carry. Um, um, and so when you're dealing with that and you don't know the depth of our trauma, the point is you can't ask traumatized people to do too much. Let me say that again. You can't ask traumatized people to do too much because they are traumatized, meaning they're not as reliable, not as predictable because they're traumatized. They're liable to go from 0 to 10 at any moment. With that in mind, this is why the last name solution or the twice a year solution has come up, because it's easy to get people to be productive twice a year than it is to ask them to be productive every other day, 12 times a month, 5 times a month. When you talk about once every 6 months, you can probably rely on them for that. So that's one of our philosophies, is not expecting people to do too much. Okay, so that's what that box is. Now, right here, I want to go through these teams real quick because I think that's important. This is teams 1 and 8. If you're writing this down, team 1 is business people, people who think about making money and creating jobs. Team 8 is lawyers, legal, policymakers, people who have create laws. That's what 8 is. Team 2, which is right here, are people who love holding others accountable. So that's the accountability team. All right. Team 3 right here is safety, military people, veterans, police, firefighters. That's team 3. Team 4 is education, whether it's the students or teachers. That's what team 4 is. Team 5 is trades, people who use their hands to earn money. Everything from construction trades to tailors and seamsters. Team 6 is race relations, people who care about the issues dealing with different races of people. Team 7 are anything dealing with food, from chefs, caterers, to restaurants, garden, farming, you name it. And that's team 8 up there. We already kind of went over that. So and I'm gonna clear this all out because I'm gonna go through. No, I can keep it in there because I'm gonna go to different slides. So these 8 teams exist in every zip code. Every zip code. This is what's painful for me as someone sitting 600 miles south, but doing 90% of the work in Chicago. This is what pains me because because we know people on the same block that talk to us, that work with us, but don't know each other on their block. And criminals love that. This is a criminal's paradise, is an isolated family, an isolated person, a person that don't know their neighbor. Because again, isolation is the first thing you do with your enemy. You know, if you're walking down the street by yourself, perfect target, perfect target. You know, if it's 2 a.m, no one else is out there to be bear witness, perfect target, isolation. So when we look at this zip code, every once a month, every zip code has what we call duty day. And remember, we've had leaders who genuinely said, "Si, I don't see how what we do, what you're doing, is making a difference." And this video is going to clear that up for you. So this is one zip code. Let me zoom in. This person here is Ken. Ken is one of our key leaders for the zip code. Ken is busy. Ken got a lot going on. So it's easy for Ken to do his own thing. We call it DMOT, doing my own thing. Ken can stay in the grind doing his own thing because he got enough to do. Matter of fact, he's behind. When do Ken take time out though to know his neighborhood better, to know the people in his neighborhood better? He don't know who moved in his zip code, who might be looking for an assistance job, who's excellent at taking burden off of Ken. He don't know. How would he know? When would he have time to find out? The duty day, which is the fourth Monday for this zip code, is when we, i.e., why your $12 matter, what we do. This is when we make sure that anyone we met in the last 30 days, we figure out where they fit at and we get them linked together. So when we meet a 19-year-old who is home from college that want a job assisting someone, now Ken in his own zip code can get help. All right, that's how this works. If someone move in on his block that he don't know, now he get to meet them. This is the day when we make sure that all 8 areas come together, that all 8 areas hear from each other, that all 8 areas at least know each other exists. So that way you have less isolation, less people working in there doing my own thing bubbles, which is what the enemy benefits off of. This is what they feed off of. Okay, I think I lost you guys here. Let's see. Let's see if I lost you. All right, it's recording. So even if I lost you on the live, I'm gonna keep recording. You would catch it on YouTube later. Okay, so I just wanted to be real clear. And remember, every zip code is linked to a sister US city and a country in Africa. So I'm gonna go through the other zip codes. It should stay in this format. So this is 60620 zip code. Same format, but now we got more people. So I'm gonna be able to talk through these people now. So let's do this in blue. Let's do this in blue so you guys can see this. Okay, so in this zip code, it's Francis Newman is our key leader. We call them governors. Pamela Dominguez is the person doing the work inside the zip code. Francis does the work with Norfolk, Virginia. Let me come down here. That's right there, Norfolk, Virginia, and Egypt. That's this person's role, to bring in outside resources. Pamela does all the work inside the zip code. So now let's look at the people. We have under Team 1, which is business, Wanda Carter runs a newspaper and online. Crystal Stepney, she runs a nail salon in the zip code. Ron Carter runs South Street Journal. When do Wanda, Ron, and Crystal talk? They all busy. They all overloaded. They all have needs to help them not be burdened down. When do they get together? Well, because the zip code one day out the month, we headquarters look at all of them and check in with all of them and make sure we know what all of their current needs are, and we match them and get them support. Crystal can't do all this work. She can't take time out and worry about what the food people in the zip code doing, what the race relations people doing, what the protest people doing. No, she's trying to run her business. And so over here, Team 2, we got Superstar K and Charles. They make certain that people are accountable. If you're getting grant money, you better be spending it. That's what they do. So if they stay in their silo doing their own thing, they don't know each other. Kay doing one aspect of protest accountability that Charles isn't. Makes sense for them to know each other. That's the link there. You look at Deborah here. Deborah is a school teacher in the zip code. So being a school teacher in the zip code, do she feel the support of the protesters that if she need people to come down to the school and protest, she got someone in her own zip code that she know, and this is what they do. That's why this one day out the month for them, which is the first Friday of the month, matters. Because who else is going to take time to look at the whole zip code and match pieces together so that everyone has a stronger network? Deborah network is stronger because now she know her governor Francis, her district leader Pamela. So when she need help, she know who to call and they know who to call. So you see how that strengthens us as a whole. And again, based on each one of their last names, when you see the R there and you look here, there's the R there. So you know April and October when we go bug Deborah. So you might be at a bugger, but you know this is when we're really asking her to be committed to helping. So it makes sense for you to kind of know when people are being taxed or stressed. So let me clear those out. Let me go through these zip codes pretty fast because I just want you to see our main thing is on these days, this 60621. On these days, this is what we're doing is connecting dots. There it is. That's the governor, meaning they deal with, in this case, New York and Sudan. That's for this zip code right here, 60621. So let's move on. Here we go in 60629, Marquette Park. We got Tracy and Terry over there. We got Mother McFadden. We got, look at this, William. He's a business person there. We got two construction people, Mike and Stanley, there who don't know each other. They both working in construction trades. One is a carpenter, one is an HVAC. They should know each other. They're in the same zip code. All right, let's move on to 60636, West Inglewood. Look at all these superstars. We got Sharice Price over there running on 63rd. She's running her own insurance business storefront. You got Joe. Joe runs at 6825 Western. He runs the Black Dry Cleaners. Do they know each other? If they don't know each other this day, the first Friday, we work to make sure Sharice knows Joe. They both in business. They can send each other business. They can create a stronger Black business group inside of that zip code. And that's because they're team one, which is business. Then you have over here on the food front, team 7, Chef Brown. She's over there. Do she know Patricia Cunningham, who is a caterer? She makes cakes. It makes sense for them to know each other. On this day, first Monday of the month, we spend time making sure that they know each other. We hear what their needs are. In construction, team 5, you got Walter, that's a welder. He behind. He need help paying people good money to help him weld fences together. Dennis Butler, plumber. So again, if we don't exist for 20 years, we're not connecting dots, connecting people together. So let me clear that out. Let's go through some of these other zip codes. I just want you guys, as you look at these zip codes, think about if we're not doing what we do on their once a month day, these people don't get to know each other. And that's a problem. Now we're on the west side of Chicago. All right. We're on the west side. Now we in North Lawndale, 60623. All right. Now we in 60624. Look like I haven't updated all these. Oh, it didn't save. That's real bad. That's real bad. I did all this work and it didn't save. Oh wow. That is a bummer out of this world. Sorry you guys got to hear me say that. But let's go back through the zip code. So this 60615 zip code, and it's the same format, you guys. Same format. That's the zip code. We got the zip code leader. We got what Sister City, New Orleans, and Congo is linked to them. And it's the same in every zip code. This 60617 right here, same format. And it's Kansas City and Tanzania in Africa. 60619, and it's Philadelphia and Angola in Africa. So as you can see, every month we work to connect these dots. That's what's critical that we do that. And 60628 is Dallas and South Africa. And 60637 is Milwaukee and Zimbabwe. And as we just keep going on, 60643 is Washington. Washington Heights is the zip code, and it's Cleveland, Ohio, and Botswana in Africa. 49, that's South Shore neighborhood. In South Shore, it is Miami and Zambia. And then the last one is Bronzeville, 60653 zip code. It is Gary, Indiana, and Nambia. All right, so let me clear this out. I'm done sharing this one. So let's stop sharing. Uh, Let me just recap what you just saw, and hopefully how your thinking could be different as a result of what you just saw. Um, a lot of people don't see the utility poles in their neighborhood, but let a car hit the utility pole and it goes down. Everyone lights can be impacted just because of that one pole that is out of alignment with the rest of them. I say that because we don't go around admiring our utility poles. Ooh, look at that utility pole. I'm glad it's standing up. But when it comes down, it impacts us, and now we got a problem with it. We want to hurry up and see it restored and fixed. That's what National Block Club University is. We are the utility pole. We stay under radar. We don't like to be seen and heard, but we are holding down. We're a capacity structure that allows us to keep everything connected. When I hear other people who connect dots and they in the neighborhood, they're keeping everyone connected. I think that's a good thing. I just want people to know that what black people are going through is bigger than what a local organization keeping you together can impact. So if you have the Gresham neighborhood has a strong network of block clubs, that's good. But guess what? The plight of young black men is bigger than your network because the plight of black men is national, is international, but it's national. So as a local group, it's some things you can do to help offset it. But the real issue is bigger than what one city can do. It's way bigger than what one city can do. And this is why your neighborhood being linked to a sister city and a country in Africa gives us a broader reach to influence more. And that's what's different. We got to be able to influence the hopelessness in the black male. That's a big component of what has to happen is influencing our young black men so that they feel like there's something else to aspire and live for. Right now, it doesn't look very inspiring. So now that you looked at all 20 of those, I want to take you to something we call the spindle, something we call the spindle. And before we get to the spindle, let me come out of this so you guys can see. Before we get to the spindle, I want you guys to see this right here. Okay, so let's do this before we go to the spindle. I want you to look at, because what we just finished talking about, what we just finished going over is the whole zip codes with people inside the zip code. Now I want you to look at the uh, paperwork for a single person. The paperwork. This is one form here. Let me fix this so that you guys can see it. I want to be able to do my annotations here. And then I'm gonna zoom in 1 minute. Okay, we want advanced. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So let me shrink this and then let me expand this so you guys can see. This is for every person. Every person. This is this is the form for each person. And I'm glad I'm putting this on YouTube so people can see this. So when we meet you as a person, when we meet you as an individual, this is what I want you to know is happening behind the scenes. Pretty extraordinary. Pretty extraordinary. Let's go back to red here. Let's draw this out. So let's start right here. It says date and birthday. We ask people for their birthday, their date. We ask for their name, ask for their address, city, zip code, phone number, and the email. If you look at the bottom there, it says Bucksport, South Carolina. You can't read, it's real small. But every person we meet, we ask for that information. Sometimes they give it to us up front, sometimes it takes months to get it. But we want to know your name and zip code primarily, name, zip code, and phone number so we can stay in touch with you. You can later trust us and give us your birthday and email, but just know that essentially we want it. And what we're going to do with it is going to allow us to create an altered black society where we loving each other. So that's first thing we do. Once we do that, then this is where Mount Bayou, Mississippi comes in. That I butchered that. But what Mount Bayou do, it will look at your last name and they would tell you when we're gonna ask you to do something. So if we meet you and your last name is Davis, we already know that January and July, right here, January and July, last names A through E, we're asking them to do something. So when we meet you, Bucksport, South Carolina is going to get busy processing you. They're going to get your information to Mount Bayou, Mississippi, who's going to look at your last name and let you know every January and July the nation needs you. So that's what Mount Bayou is going to do, a 97% black town. Also, we're gonna ask, do you have any first graders, second graders, third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, all the way to 12th graders in your house? And if you do, check the box so that we can then get your kindergartner linked in with Kindergarten University. We can get your fifth grader linked in with fifth grade university. This is what Coalfield, North Carolina responsibility is. So their job is to find out what grade, K through 12th grade, is in your house so we can get them connected. So just like today, two 10th graders won and split $50, that your child can win money. That's what they do. So this is all part of when we meet you. Now, we can't operate without donations. All right. That's how we operate. $12 a year. But we got people that do $1,000 loans, $500 loans, $144 loans, them the businesses. But it always comes back to $12 a year. No matter what you do, higher dollar amount still comes down to the 12. Now, one of my elders got on me. They said, "Si, I don't want to be restricted to no $12. I want to do more." And I said, "Hey, you can always do more. What we ask for is something that is doable for all of us, 40 million people to do. And that's where the 12 come in at. Falcon, Mississippi, we gave that responsibility to Falcon, Mississippi, a 96% black town. They are going to have 7 offices to manage 40 million people requests to donate $12. So we're going to create a bustling small town in Falcon, Mississippi to be able to handle what I just put out there to you. All right. Every person we meet, we want to find out throughout the January through December year, what charities do you support? Give us four. And we're going to find a way to support them too, because we're going to synchronize your four charities with someone else's so we can do a bigger impact. And that's Coahoma, Mississippi, that's going to manage that. Another town of 97, 98% black that we're going to create a job. They're going to manage 40 million black people's four charities that they donate to, creating industry down there. All right. Then we have in Metcalf, Mississippi, our sister there, Etta James, and running the bar and grill down there. I met her recently and sent her small money just to let her know we serious about supporting and creating this job for 40 million people in her small town of 97% black, just by asking every single black person to name four black businesses they circulated money with, and to do this each month at the end of each month. By that alone, it's 40 million people. That's a lot of jobs just by asking blacks to name they four. So you can see all this is on one piece of paper, you guys. We also, when we ask for your birthday, as you can see here, January through December, we want to find out the birthdays of your daughter, son, sister, auntie. And here's why: when we talk about the hurt, abuse, and bitterness in Black America, one of the ways that we're going to be able to turn that hurt and abuse around is by having layers of support and community love. So, knowing the birthdays, we literally are going to create a new environment where your birthdays are so special. A vehicle pulls up and they jump out and they celebrate you right there on the block. And this is job creation for some people, but it's spreading love for the rest of us. And this is how we're going to change the hurt, abuse, and bitterness in our neighborhoods. One of the ways. Then you got, and we have here Whitehall's, Alabama is going to manage that. Here we have Moses, Alabama is going to handle referring at least one person. The referred person is everyone from your mom, auntie, cousin, brother, sister, auntie, nephew, niece, or children. Every person that you tell about us, it opens up this same form for them. So as you can see, this is overkill. Every person in your household create a whole new form, and it just keeps blossoming to having work for all of these towns: Bucksport, South Carolina; Coalfield, North Carolina; Mount Bayou, Metcalf, Falcon, and then Ocala, Florida is going to deal with all our young people when it comes to their resumes. Every young person will have a resume and it's going to come out of Ocala, Florida. That's a lot. I'm going to pause so you guys can digest this. And I'm going to zoom in just a tad bit so you guys can really, really see that. There it is right there. Let me open this up so you guys can really look at this, and then we're going to move on to the spindle. Okay, so this is what it looks like in a broader text. So the household shopping cart, Cofield, the too busy a year. This is Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Donations, that's how we do this. Without it, this doesn't go as far. 4 charities, name your 4. 9 different forms, getting 9 pieces of information to just put people to work all over. So that's it. So let's stop this. Appreciate you guys watching this video and hopefully gaining some insight into how quickly we gonna be able to alter Black society around. So now let's go to the spindle. I'm gonna keep this thing flowing here. The spindle. So here's the spindle right here. And what actually, before I go to the spindle, let's look at what it looks like. So we're gonna say the spindle. Let's go right here first, so you guys can see this. So this is what the form looks like. And I need to blow this up so you guys can really see this. Okay. Here we go. So it says our block. Ask for your name, address, phone number, birthday, if you retired, adult, whatever. But this is what I want you to really see right here. Look at this. This form for each adult. If you tell us you're a scientist, we check that box. And you see Boston, Massachusetts handles anyone that's a scientist. If you tell us you're an entertainer, you check that box. It goes to our LA people dealing with entertainment. If you check the box that you're a police officer, firefighter, as you can see, it goes to Atlanta. I should be doing my annotations here so you guys can follow me. If you tell us you into communications, it's going to Memphis, Tennessee. And Memphis is going to link you with all the other communication people. If you tell us you're a lawyer, it's going to St. Louis, Missouri. If you tell us you're in food, restaurant, chef, cater, it's going to Birmingham, Alabama. If you tell us you're in construction, it's going to Detroit, Michigan. You tell us you're a veterinarian, run a pet store, it's going to Norfolk, Virginia. You tell us you're into engineering and technology, it's going to New York City. Each one of these is linked to a Chicago zip code. You in business, Washington, D.C. You into farming, San Diego, California. You into politics, St. Paul, Minnesota. You tell us you into paperwork administration, Gary, Indiana. That's also book authors. You tell us you into travel, hey, New Orleans, right there. You tell us you're a teacher, Kansas City, Missouri, got you. You tell us you're a detective, right here, Philadelphia, got you. You're a nurse, pastor, or a truck driver, Dallas, Texas, got you. You're an artist, DJ, photographer, designer, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, got you. You and a doctor, a dentist, Cleveland, Ohio, got you. Marketing, sales, vending, Miami, Florida, got you. Look at that, y'all. Like that's a big deal. And again, I put this on video so that you guys can later go back and look at this, because we want people to really learn. Every one person we meet, this is what we go over with them. We want to make sure that whatever block you live on, we get your name, address, phone number, email, and we find out what it is that you do. And once we know what you do, it puts us in a better position to link you, put other people to work, because now other people are gaining insights. So this view is the bigger picture here. So you can see this is 40 million of us. These are the jobs of the future, which is information. Look at what I kind of already went over with you. Now I want you to see this as a human, as a person, how this really plays out. So this is the person right here. We get that. But the intake center is right where we first meet you as a person. First meet you, and that's going to Bucksport, South Carolina. 96% black, 876 people in that town. Why do that? Because isolation is the first tool they use against us. By having Bucksport be a part of this black national agenda, it includes a town of 96% black into a national agenda. That's great for that small town, but it's also an outlet for you. Now you have a reason to travel and meet people in this small black town of Bucksport versus spending your whole life never even hearing about the place. So that's what they do. I went over this already, so I don't have to do this, but I just want you guys to see it. The twice a year, as you can see, Mount Bayou, Mississippi is handling that part. When we talked about the donations, look at that. Falcon, Mississippi is handling that part. When we talk about the shopping cart of all the grades in your house, Coalfield, North Carolina is handling that part. Look at that. The four charities you support, you see that Coahoma got that. So when you look at this, and this is why I'm hoping you're as excited as me. Let me clear that out. Sorry about that. Clear it out. This one person is gonna help get 9 small black towns all type of work to do. All type of work to do. All of this is paperwork, so it all falls under Gary, Indiana, who's the national headquarters for all administration. So look at all the jobs, 9 different places, just with your information as one person. 9 different small towns are gonna have work to do because of your one piece of your single person getting that information from you. So we making good time. This is good. Let me close this out. Let me go to the spindle because the spindle is about to change the subject here. Okay, here we go. Spindle, spindle, spindle. All right. So, what is the spindle and why should you care about the spindle? So, the spindle is the system. When I told you Bucksport is responsible for intake, when I told you North Lawndale is linked to Los Angeles, that's structure. Structure is how things are configured together. We have structural racism that's happened to black people, and that's part of isolation. White flight back in the 60s, where they left and took all the jobs and economic, those were structural things done to us. So everything I was saying to you at first was all about how do we fight isolation and we reconfigure so we can be unified and supportive of each other. Now the spindle gets into a totally separate issue, which is systems and systematic. And systematic is all these different components working in harmony, interdependent on each other. So it's just like the spark plugs working with the exhaust. Spark plugs fire, the exhaust carry the smoke out. You know, they work interconnected, but they still is inside the car as a whole. So spindle is behavior because that's what system is, the behavior. And every 30 days, everything we do keeps coming up. Everything we do keeps on popping up. So therefore what we have is continuation, sustainability, forgiveness, because if you forget this one, it'll come up again in 30 days. So that's what this does for us. So I want to zoom in so you guys can really see how this spindle matters. Now, let me zoom in first. So we'll take this spindle first right here. This here is the 7 day spindle. Even though it say 30 day, I'm gonna change that. It's really a 7 day spindle because every Friday is seniors day. It's 4 Fridays a month. So that's 7 days, not every 30 days. Every Tuesday is education day. Keeps on rotating. You miss this one, catch the next one. Every Saturday is youth day. You miss this Saturday, get them next Saturday. But the point is, spindle means it keeps repeating, keeps repeating. And as long as it keeps repeating, is room for you to forget one time and don't forget the next time. So it's a lot of forgiveness baked into the spindle. Now I'm gonna go to the big spindle because I want you guys to see the big one. There it is right here. So let me zoom out so you guys can really see this. All right, here we go. 30-day spindle. Here's the power of this. This is the power. I can walk into any public housing complex in America and I have something to offer them right now to get everyone in that complex doing something. That's the power of the spindle. The spindle is unchanging and it keeps repeating. So when I walk into the Gate City complex in Birmingham, Alabama, and all the guys standing around, the girls standing around, Don't be mad at me, Birmingham, for saying that. I'm using you as an example. But when they're standing around doing nothing, here's the beauty. If they're willing, you can say, "Hey, sister, I see you love debate. You ever wanted to be a lawyer?" "Yeah, I did." "Okay, why don't you be a junior lawyer with us?" "What do you mean?" "Every fourth Tuesday is our lawyers' day. So every fourth Tuesday for 6 months to a year, I want to get you on the conference call. I want to get you texting so that you can meet other lawyers in Birmingham." "Really? What I got to do?" "On this day, it rotates every 30 days. You got to get active on the conference call line, or you got to text these lawyers." The point is this: if we detect, we know what they care about, we can offer that because we know the spindle is going to keep rotating around. We might go out there when it's the fourth Tuesday, and we're like, when I could do it? It's today. If you don't do it today, it's gonna be 30 more days. So that's the beauty. The spindle keeps on happening, and what it does, it allows us to engage any single person and put them into a recurring process that will allow us to keep building as a people with no burnout. This is 30 days. So that means it's 12 times a year, no burnout. And with the last name solution, they only have to do something 2 of those 12 times a year. So that's the beauty of the spindle. It allows you, me, anyone, once you know the days, to walk anywhere and start plugging people into the system, plugging them in. Every 30 days is gonna keep rotating. And this is phenomenal. This is a big deal to be able to, no matter where you go, if you meet a teacher, second Saturday. What I gotta do? Just call in. Now they connected with all the other teachers. So that's how this is designed. It's the 30-day spindle every third Monday. Engineers keep on rotating. Engineers in Detroit, engineers in Chicago, engineers in LA. It just keeps on rotating. And the days allow us to be able to go anywhere and plug people into a system that keeps on rotating, with or without them. And so if it's with them, then they can benefit better and they can benefit more. But if it's without them, that gives them time to want to do it. We want people to be on board because they want to do it. So that's it. Last one is the conventions. Then I'm done. I know you guys tired of hearing from me. Last one, conventions. So let's switch gears and let's get ready to talk about these conventions. I need to explain to you why this matters so much, why the conventions matter. So first and foremost, Gary, Indiana is uniquely situated in America, right next to rich Chicago. Chicago has tons of economic means and infrastructure, and Gary sits right there 30 miles away. Gary has to benefit from that being that close, and Gary hasn't benefited as much as it could. The conventions is going to give us a reason to interact. It's going to give people here in North Georgia and Birmingham, inside of North Florida, Atlanta, of course, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Rome, Georgia, depending on what they do for a living, it's going to give them a reason to come up to Chicago. Granted, they may not even know about Gary, but we know who lives in the Midwest. Gary, Chicago is close enough. But to everyone else, the draw might be coming to Chicago, even though they're going to be at the convention in Gary. So let me, the first year, 2021, is really going to be Zoom. So it's really going to be Zoom conventions. That's what we're going to be doing, Zoom for 2021 originally. 2022 we'll do meet and greets, so it'll become physical, and then 2023 we'll be ready to do full conventions. Give us a 3-year build up period. Gary, Indiana, Grant Theater on 39th and Grant is where we're going to host, almost exclusively. Depending on their schedule, we might have to work around a few weekends, but 52 Saturdays, weekends of pulling people together at the Grant Theater. Grant Theater matters because that's one of our biggest supporters. We want to build up and make sure that the Grant Theater is strong and robust so that it can do more of what it's been designed to do, which is to be a theater and host people. So if we bring people from all over the country there, we're circulating money in that town. We're justifying boosting the housing because of all these tourists coming in. This is a good thing. And as you see right here, this is January. So this is coming up. January 2nd is next Saturday. Then you got January 9th, January 17th. So the month of January involves everything from, as you can see, mechanics, farmers, missing persons, and veterinarians. That's the first shebang. So we're gonna see how this goes. I left a lot of room for failure because at the end of the day, if we have people not supporting financially with the $1 a month to $12 a year, then it's understandable why certain things aren't getting done. But from a format standpoint, you can see it. And then in February, uh, as you can see, each of these Saturdays in February, we hitting it off with Black History Month, photographers convention, just business people in general, and then fishers and anglers. Sorry about that. So every Saturday again. So what I want to prepare you guys for is not only paying the small amount we're going to have for people to zoom in with these Zoom conventions, but also you can watch it free on the replay. So we want certain people to be on with us. The rest can watch it for free. But the biggest thing is for them business people to know each other, to work together, to come up with themes each year for every convention. Every year should be a different theme. The auto repair convention should say this year's theme is giving a free car away to single parents. It's the year of single parents benefiting. The next year thing will be seniors, whatever. The point is, this is a reason for these professions to get together. It's a reason for them to come up with a theme. And I personally think they should come up with a local theme for their city, a regional thing for Miami, Birmingham, New Orleans, or Gary, Chicago, Atlanta. And then when they come to the convention with everyone, now they come up with the national theme. So no one area should come up with the whole national. It forces them to, when they all get together, to come up with that and ratify it. But think about Black life now. When you got all these conventions, you got young people, adults, and youth all coming together uh, 52 times a year if they care about all these different conventions. Like, and now you got all this travel moving around from North Georgia, Tennessee, up there to the Midwest, vice versa. This is some big stuff. The political convention, August 7th. We already got that date locked in. The poetry convention. We got poets out there. The engineering convention, June 26th. So the point is, it's about to be exciting just to navigate, move around in our sectors in our community instead of the other way around where we're staying in the house or not going out because we're worried about things that could happen to us. With this, we're going to create vibrancy. With vibrancy, people on negative stuff won't feel comfortable and they're going to go somewhere where they feel more comfortable at. That's it, you guys. Thanks for your time. We went over why the zip code duty days matter. We went over all 9 cities, small towns, went over the spindle and the conventions. That's exactly what I wanted to cover.